This wasn't a skating accident. This wasn't bad luck. This wasn't a rivalry that went too far. This was a crime so unnecessary and so poorly thought out that it somehow became one of the most famous moments in sports history. A grown man hid in a hallway with a baton, waiting for a 24-year-old figure skater to walk by, because apparently that felt easier than practicing. For a brief moment in 1994, the United States watched competitive figure skating turn into organized crime with sequins. It's January 6, 1994 in Detroit, Michigan. The U.S. Figure Skating Championships are days away. The Winter Olympics are weeks away. The country has already decided who the stars are. Nancy Kerrigan is calm, elegant, consistent, technically strong. Tonya Harding is explosive, volatile, immensely talented, and surrounded by chaos like it's part of the training plan. Only 2 women are realistically expected to represent the U.S. on the Olympic stage, which means this isn't just a competition. It's a bottleneck. One bad fall can end everything. One injury can erase years of work. And one terrible decision can permanently rewrite sports history. Nancy Kerrigan is doing exactly what elite athletes do. She practices. She skates her program. She finishes her run. She steps off the ice and walks through a curtain into a hallway. There's a camera crew nearby because it's Olympic season and everyone is filming everything. Then briefly, the cameras stop. That pause lasts seconds. It's the only opening needed. Standing nearby is a man named Shane Stant. He's not an athlete. He's not security. He's not lost. He's waiting. When Nancy passes, he follows her from behind, pulls out a telescopic baton and swings it with full force into her right leg. Not her head. Not randomly, her landing leg. The leg that absorbs impact. The leg that decides whether you can skate at all. Nancy collapses instantly. Stant doesn't hesitate. He turns, runs, and smashes through a locked glass door to escape. Outside, a car is waiting. This isn't impulsive. This isn't emotional. This is targeted. Seconds later, the cameras start rolling again. Nancy is on the floor, crying, clutching her legs, surrounded by staff. Through the pain and confusion, she keeps repeating the same word over and over. Why? That footage will be replayed endlessly, not because it's dramatic, but because it's real. She doesn't understand what just happened. Neither does anyone else. Yet.
I don't know, some hard black stick. Something really hard.
Doctors later confirm severe bruising to her knee and quadriceps tendon. She's forced to withdraw from the U.S. Championships, which is exactly what the attackers wanted. Not permanent damage, just enough damage. Somehow that makes it worse. This didn't start in a hallway. It started years earlier inside Tonya Harding's personal life, which was already a disaster long before Nancy ever stepped onto that ice. Tonya's relationship with her ex-husband Jeff Gillooly was volatile, abusive, and chaotic. Police were called to their home multiple times. Restraining orders were filed, dropped, and filed again. Arguments escalated into violence. Guns were involved. This was not a stable environment quietly supporting Olympic dreams. This was dysfunction with skates. Gillooly and his friend Sean Eckhart started talking about solutions. Not coaching solutions, not therapy, permanent solutions. What if Nancy couldn't skate? What if she missed nationals? What if she never made it to the Olympics? They didn't just talk, they hired people. Money changed hands, practice schedules were tracked, photos were gathered, locations were discussed. Different methods were debated, including cutting her Achilles tendon, running her off the road, even killing her. Eventually, they settled on something simpler. Injure her leg just enough. Shane Stant was recruited. He bought the baton. He traveled across states trying to find Nancy. He missed her in Massachusetts. He didn't stop, because once you've committed to felony assault, follow-through matters. Eventually, he followed her to Detroit, and the hallway provided the opportunity. After the attack, everything unraveled almost immediately. Confessions started coming fast. Everyone turned on everyone. Gillooly admitted he planned it. Eckhart admitted his role. Derek Smith admitted he helped. Stant admitted he carried out the attack. This was not a criminal mastermind operation. This was a group project where no one studied. Then all eyes turned to Tonya Harding. Did she know? Tonya denied knowing about the attack beforehand. Then she sat through a 10-hour FBI interview. Investigators confronted her with phone records, timelines, and statements that didn't match. Her story changed. She eventually admitted she helped cover it up after the fact, lying to investigators and agreeing on a false story with the others. A grand jury later said there was evidence she was involved earlier than she admitted. The U.S. Figure Skating Association concluded she had prior knowledge. She was never criminally convicted of planning the attack. She was convicted of hindering prosecution, which is legal language for you didn't swing the baton, but you didn't exactly help either. The media completely lost its mind. Reporters camped outside homes. Magazine covers exploded. Talk shows debated guilt nonstop. Figure skating, once associated with grace and restraint, became a true crime series with costumes. Somehow, through all of this, Tonya Harding was still allowed to compete in the Olympics, which feels like a sentence written by someone who gave up halfway through. Jeff Gillooly went to prison. The others served time. Tonya Harding was fined, placed on probation, stripped of her U.S. championship title, and banned for life from U.S. figure skating. Her career ended, not because of skating, but because of everything surrounding it. Through all of this, one person stayed mostly quiet. Nancy Kerrigan. She didn't go on talk shows. She didn't exploit the scandal. She didn't turn herself into a spectacle. She healed. Nancy missed the U.S. championships just like the attackers planned. What they didn't plan for was recovery. She healed in time to compete in the 1994 Winter Olympics in Lillehammer. Just weeks after being assaulted in a hallway, she stepped onto Olympic ice in front of the entire world and won silver. No revenge tour. No dramatic speeches. Just performance. She stood on the podium after everything that was done to stop her. While others became infamous, Nancy walked away with her dignity, her career, and her legacy intact. The entire scandal hinged on one belief, that sabotaging someone else was easier than being better. That belief cost people prison sentences, careers, and reputations, and it didn't even work. One hallway, one baton, one incredibly bad idea, and one of the most unnecessary crimes in sports history. Because in the end, the most shocking part wasn't the attack. It was how many adults thought this was a reasonable plan.